I'm Ken Trahan of the Quarterback Club and at sportsnola.com at WGSO 990 AM. And on behalf of the entire Quarterback Club brethren, we thank you for being here today and congratulate all and Merry Christmas, one and all. We'd like to thank, first and foremost, the people that made this possible all year long. And that includes sportsnola.com, the official website of the Greater New Orleans Quarterback Club, WHNO Television, Channel 20, and Sports NOLA TV at 6 o'clock on Monday evenings on WHNO. Also, the R&O Carriers New Orleans Bowl, which sponsors our Prep Players of the Week and our Prep Player of the Year award. And we'd also like to thank our presenting sponsor, Compliance Technology, which has been a loyal presenting sponsor of the Greater New Orleans Quarterback Club for many years now. With that in mind, it's my pleasure to introduce at this time to say a few words the President of Compliance Technology and Chairman of USA Wrestling, Mr. Jim Ravanack. Jim?
Well, thank you, Kenny. First, I'd like to welcome all of our honorees, but also their families and coaches. We understand how important it is for the family and coaches to be here today. On behalf of Compliance Technology, it's been an honor to sponsor the Quarterback Club for the past 10 years. Working with Kenny Trahan, Ed Daniels, and Stan Cotton on their countless hours to help prepare for this local event. Again, I'd like to congratulate our athletes and just let them know that the Quarterback Club will be certainly watching for their next journeys in life. Again, I'd like to turn it back over to Kenny, but thank y'all.
Thank you, Jim. And once again, Compliance Technology makes this possible, so we're deeply indebted to what they do for the betterment of the community and to sponsor what we do so that we can honor some of the wonderful young people in our community. Speaking of really good young people, he's still young, I think. Yeah, after this season, maybe not as young, but he's growing into the job. Just completed his first year as the head football coach at Tulane University. Of course, he was the wide receivers coach of the New Orleans Saints when they won the Super Bowl and coached countless years on the college level in many different venues and recruited some terrific student athletes in the process. He's looking forward to a great future at Tulane University in a new conference, the Big East, right here in South Louisiana, where he's a native of, home and enjoying being home with a new football stadium soon to follow. Please give a warm welcome to Tulane head football coach Curtis Johnson. CJ?
You know, thanks for having me today. You know, it's just an honor to come and speak to you gentlemen and you parents, and it just overwhelms me just to be here, just to know that, you know, that was me, those guys were me. I was never that good. I could never beat JT when I was playing at St. Charles High School. Wade tried to, we couldn't do it again, Wade. You know, we had to just keep moving, but I just think it's an honor for all you young men, and you're very blessed to have this banquet. You know, James, thank you for, you know, sponsoring this wonderful banquet. I just want to mention one thing, just a couple of things I got to mention. I would be remiss not to mention that we had a player this season, and he was from Destrehan High School, and I think you heard, you know, and the young man has been injured, and you know, I've told everyone I'm not going to discuss the injury. But I'm asking you, as a group, you young men, and I'm asking you in the audience, just pray for him. I'm a very, very faithful man, and I'm asking for your prayers because the young man is struggling, and his name is Devin Walker, and I'm just asking for your prayers, and if you want to donate something, you can go on our website, but this is not what this is all about. This is just asking for prayers because the young man, he's been away from home. He's been with his parents, and they need your prayers right now, and I'm just asking for that. First and foremost, being here, young men sitting in front of me, you have a very, very, very big following. I see parents. I've watched your games. I've watched you. And I'm going to ask you young men in front, just give your parents and coaches a big hand. And look, guys, there's so many young men that don't have parents. You know, so just be thankful you have them, and just, you know, just honor them. Also, for the coaches, all these coaches here, you do the best job in the country. I've coached in California, in the state of California. I've coached in Florida. I've coached at the University of Miami. And I just, this is the best football. And I can tell you how I know it's the best. I have 16 scholarships. I have 19 commitments, and the majority of them are from Louisiana, from just this area. So all you parents, all you players, give your coaches a big hand. I thank you for that. And as you know, I'd be a fool not to recruit in South Louisiana. I couldn't be at the state championship games, but I just know, and I was getting updates throughout the day, how Jabbar Jaloub just went on and kicked Neville's butt. Then the next morning, we turned it over to JT and his gang, and they should be #1 in the country. I don't know what's going on. I have a son-in-law that coached for Manatee, and I watched them play the other night, and they got their butts whipped in Florida. So now JT should be #1 in the country, but now I don't know how he gets #2, but he should be #1. And then later on that night, I watched Jay Roth just put it on, this great Barb team that they just spanked them. So for all you guys and all the rest of you coaches, you had great seasons. But for those 3 coaches, let's just give them a big hand. One thing I can do, I can recruit. If you ever see my wife, she looks a lot younger than me, but we're the same age. And when you get plus 50, you can recruit. So I'm not going to be long, and I can talk, so you got to talk a long while when you're doing this. I just want to say a couple of things to these young men. Look, this is the best time of your life. Take full advantage of what you have. These coaches have spent countless of hours. They've dealt with so much just to get you in this position. And always go back, always remember them, always honor them. And if you do make it big, and I just saw Coach Reese walk in here a couple minutes ago, and there's one guy who made it big. Coach Reese had Marshall Falk, and he told me a long time ago that Marshall would be the best player ever. And I didn't believe him then, and he is. He's the best player I've ever seen. And just like JT will tell me about his players, Jay Roth, and you can be. I would tell you this, a couple of things you got to do. Never, never, never quit. Never, ever, in anything. Never quit, never quit, never quit. And then never stop dreaming. Because if you're not dreaming, you're dying. And if you're dying, you're not living. And if you're not living, then you're not doing anything. So you got the world in front of you. It's a great, great place, South Louisiana. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for us at Tulane. I won a national championship being in the Big East Conference. We also getting a new stadium. But for you guys, it's to honor you this year that you guys were the best. And I would just say this. I'm going to leave this. Everybody give these gentlemen a hand. And thanks for listening to me.
Thanks, Curtis. It's great to have you here once again. And he genuinely cares about his community. And there's no doubt that he's going to continue to strive to recruit players from this area, as he's made a significant effort to do already with some degree of success. Of course, we have many very good things about our city that create tremendous interest and generate revenue for the metropolitan area. We have the Sugar Bowl coming up right after the first of the year, where the All-State Sugar Bowl will pit Louisville against Florida, which should be an excellent game and clearly will bring significant dollars to our economy. And kudos to the Sugar Bowl for landing the big game between the SEC and the Big 12. That was a hard thing to be able to accomplish, but they did, and we commend them for their great success in landing that. We're very fortunate, too, because we have a second bowl game here that's become a very good entity for our marketplace. Last year set attendance records. This year that figures to happen again because of the 2 schools that are participating. It's the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl and the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette, who supported the game fervently last year, will be back again this year. They will be taking on the Pirates of East Carolina, who travel very well and will be extremely motivated to be here. Should be a very good football game. Curtis is shaking his head. Could have beaten those guys, and maybe he will next year. But with that in mind, of course, the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl sponsors our Prep Players of the Week and the awards that they will receive here in a little while, which we deeply appreciate. They've been a continual sponsor of the Quarterback Club. Here to speak on behalf of the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl is the chairman of that outstanding event. Please welcome Mr. Rob Gardner. Rob?
Thank you very much, Ken, for inviting us again to be a part of the this event, and to all the members of the quarterback club. Thanks to Appliance Tech for supporting this event, and it's always good to see Coach Johnson, and we wish you the best as you make the move. Tulane makes that move to the new conference. Also to Tim Levy, who's been a big friend and supporter and involved with the Sports Foundation. He's got a great facility here. Please thank Tim. Thank your partners. I'll be a little redundant in the sense that I know, because 95% of my remarks are to you young men sitting down there. If you could just turn around for just a second. You don't have to keep that crook in your neck, but I just want to look in the faces of each and every one of you. Even though your backs will be to me, I'm really talking to you all, because your parents, the loved ones, uncles, aunts, the coaches here have said, I'm sure, what I'm about to say as quickly as possible to you all ad nauseum, but I want to first say that all of those things that they've tried to say to you and instill into you, and I don't mean just the skill sets of the game, but they've been, and you'll see this, God willing, as you get older, what Coach and my parents and my uncles and my aunts were really trying to get me to see, and it was so much larger than football, so much larger than the game, so much larger than sports. The easy part for us with the New Orleans Bowl and the Sports Foundation is support you and try to provide some resources for that. That's the easy part. What we're really concerned about and what really concerns us and where our focus is that we want each and every one of you all to be success stories in life. And whether that happens to be on somebody's playing field or in healthcare or in some other industries out there, we just want you to be successful people. And the key to that are those lessons that the coaches tried to weave into the drills, where you've heard ad nauseum, ad infinitum, about paying attention, about being responsible, showing up for practices early, leaving late, putting in the extra. Those are things that you have to do throughout life, no matter whether you're going to be in surgery or ceramics. It doesn't matter. That's the winning formula for what you've got to do. And so it's important for you to, first of all, think of yourself, Tanner Lee, Stephen Dunbar, all of you all. You all think of yourselves as Tanner Lee Incorporated, as Stephen Dunbar Incorporated. You are your company. You are the best product that your company has. You should not taint your product, and you certainly shouldn't allow anybody else to taint your product. You're Tanner Lee Incorporated, Stephen Dunbar Incorporated, Sergio Medina Incorporated. You and your company moves forward from this point on until you die, which hopefully is a long, long time down the road. But you think of this in everything you do in your classrooms, how you relate to your teachers, how you relate to your parents, how you relate to your coaches and the assistant coaches, how you relate to your neighbors, how you relate to your classmates, as my best performance. I'm always on the playing field. You are always on the playing field. And people are making judgments as to how well you're performing. It's not just within the confines of a few hours of a game, but you're always on the playing field, and you've got to understand that people are always seeing your performance, your product. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it fair? Is it not so good? You always want your product to be the best product out there, wherever you happen to be. Wherever you happen to be. You are Tanner Lee Incorporated, Sergio Incorporated, Mr. Dunbar Incorporated. You are your best product. And so all those messages that your parents and loved ones and significant others and the coaches try to instill in you redundantly day after day, and it sounds like, okay, coach, I got it, you can't get it enough. Remind yourself, though, that as you're walking about, whether it's on the practice field or going home or going to the library or to social, you are your best product. You represent yourself first. I see a lot of young folk that come to me over at the LSU Health Sciences Center, especially our, what we call our pre-matric class, where the incoming medical students, but a lot of undergrad students will come to scout out careers at LSU in terms of healthcare, nursing, whatever. And I always tell them, the same thing applies to you all. You know, they bring a resume in and their credentials and that sort of thing. And I always tell them, the first page of your resume is you. The first page of your resume is you. It's who I see coming through the door, and who others see coming through the door, and who the coaches see when you walk into the gym or the workout area, the training area, or on the playing field. They're looking, they see the guy that's doing the extra hustle, that works a little harder, that takes criticism and direction and responds to that. All of that tells them that later on, if I ever see this young man again, I want him on my team in life. You're your best product. We're just proud to be a part, a small part, a very small part of that. Ken, we're thankful to you with the quarterback club, who have seen kids come and go, and you've invested lifetimes in other people's kids, only with the single wish that they want you all to have the very best life you can have. You are your best product. You're your company. Treat it like that. Don't taint your product, and don't allow anybody else to taint your product. Thank you all for inviting me, Ken.
Thank you, Ron. Again, the R&O Carriers New Orleans Bowl, December 22nd, 11 a.m. in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Get your tickets and go support not only a good institution in our town, but two fine schools that will be participating in the game as well. Next up is my great friend, sports director of WGNO, ABC 26. He's co-host of the Three Tailgater Show on WGSO 990 AM. Writes for the Clarion Herald and SportsNola.com as well. And he hosts the preeminent prep football television show in Louisiana, Friday Night Football, 21 years running, with Coach Curtis on ABC 26 at 11:02. You got to get the time right. It's 11:02 every Friday night. And of course, you got to remember that it's no longer a half-hour show. It's no longer a 40-minute show. It's no longer a 45-minute show. It's like about an hour and counting. And with the sponsors they have, pretty soon it will be 2 hours, because everything's sponsored. But that's another story. Does a tremendous job covering Prep sports, nearly 35 years running in his hometown. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Ed Daniels. Ed?
My pleasure to be here today. Definitely my pleasure to be here at the Cannery. Vic Hughes works, Jackie Hughes plays tennis. If you need free tickets to anything, Mr. Gardner's your guy. Anybody need it? You can see him after the event. Thanks to Jim Ravanack, who does a tremendous job. Compliance Technologies, just unbelievable what they do for the quarterback club. I'd also like to thank my partner in crime at WGNO TV, Robert O'Shields, and my co-host, Mr. J.T. Curtis, who make all the money on the show while I do all the work. So, season's over. I had a little bit of spring in my step this morning. I woke up, felt as fast as Speedy Noel, as tough as Leonard Fournette, as paranoid as Jay Roth and Wade Kaiser. So I was really ready to go today. As I drove down West Napoleon to the station today, you know how in those communist countries, they always put the big mural of the leader on the side of the building? They were already doing that at the Rummel Gymnasium, Jay's picture. And I was like, wow, he really is influential. Guy from USA Today called me asking me about Coach JT's success, the secrets. I told him the truth. It was me. 14 titles in 21 years since we've been doing the show together. Every state championship game since 1996. I don't think that's a coincidence. Also, finally, JT listened to me and called the fake punt on Saturday, and of course it worked. Coach Jaluk, unbelievable job this year. And of course he wore the mic for us for the All Access that Robert did for Friday Night Football. I don't know if you saw it, it was really good. I didn't have the heart to tell Coach Jaluk before that the two previous coaches who wore the mic lost in the state championship game. So Coach, we really appreciate that. Also, I have a message for Coach CJ today. I am now Tanner Lee's agent. He told me unless he throws the ball 50 times a game, he's going to declare for the NFL draft, and I'm going to get 15%. So I'm excited about that. Also, would like to thank Stan Kahneman and Kevin Keitel. They do what attorneys do a lot, go to lunch, and I really appreciate everything they've done for us. Unbelievable job on the radio this week by Ken Trahan, Rick Gailey, and Bill Duncan on WGSO during the championship games. You know, when Ken tends to get excited, he talks really fast and a lot. So Rick and Billy were giving great analysis like great play and wow, because they really didn't have time to say anything else. In all seriousness, I woke up this morning and I know Christmas is coming and I'm looking forward to that, of course, and the New Year and the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras. And my daughter is getting married on February 16th, so I'll be indigent after that. But soon after that, I don't know about you guys, but I'll start thinking about next year. And I really enjoy this whole process every year. One of the best things that has happened to our staff and our football season every year is you. So thank you again. Let's do it again next year. And congratulations to all of our players and coaches for, I think, an unbelievably spectacular 2012 season. Thank you.
Nice job, didn't leave anybody out. Thanks, Ed. Great job per usual. And we'll hear from Ed in just a little bit when we have another award to present. And we also want to acknowledge, Ed mentioned the radio broadcast, Billy Duncan and Rick Gailey did the John Curtis game with us, and Ro Brown is here today. Where are you, Ro? I see you. Ro and Rick did the Endicott state championship game with us, and then Easton Roth and Rick Gailey did the Rummel game with us. And I can't imagine that Easton wasn't a little bit excited about that. I can assure you he was. So we had a great experience, always is, and thanks to those guys for a job well done. Time now to start presenting our Prep Player of the Week award. So I'm going to ask Ron, if you will, come on up here and help with this, and Jim, if you will, as well, to get the awards behind me. They're in order. Start with week number 1, and when we call your name, starting left to right, obviously, you're going to make your way up the stage, and we're actually going to put you in front of the microphone and say a word or two. Don't be shy. It's okay. It's a resume, like Ron said. So here's your first opportunity. So we'll start with our Greater New Orleans Quarterback Club Prep Player of the Week for week number 1, sponsored by the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl all year long. And their table today, sponsored by City Wholesale from Country Day, Christian Motter, a 5'11", 185-pound senior. Motter was a two-way stalwart in Country Day's wild season opening 43-38 victory over Sophie P. Wright. Offensively, Christian carried 13 times for 74 yards and a touchdown. On defense, he had 7 tackles and a pair of interceptions, and he returned one of those 80 yards for a touchdown. Motter is coached by Richard Wood. Our Prep Player of the Week for week number 1, Christian Motter of Country Day. Christian?
I'd like to thank my coaches and my teammates, because without them I wouldn't be able to be here. Also, I'd like to thank my parents and the quarterback club for presenting me with this award. Thank you.
Great season for Country Day. Cajuns reaching the regional round of the playoffs. Congratulations to Christian. Our Player of the Week for week number 2, and their table sponsored by the Greater New Orleans football officials. So I would imagine they're going to get some calls in the future. Mr. Barr likes it. He's all happy about it. Devontae Speedy Noel, quarterback, sometimes wide receiver, whatever they want him to be at Henry Carr. 5'10", 175-pound junior. Noel was spectacular in Carr's 41-13 win at Hahnville. He accounted for 272 yards and 4 touchdowns. He rushed 10 times for 236 yards and 2 scores. and for good measure completed 3 of 7 passes for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nola is coached by Jabbar Jaluk. Again, coaches, if you will, take a bow when we mention your name. Coach Richard Wood, too, please. That's you. Raise your hand. There you go. That's not a bow, but that's close. Our player of the week for week number 2, Devontae Speedy Nola of Endicott.
First, I'd like to thank the Northern Quarterback Club for honoring me with this award. I'd like to thank my parents, my coach, my coaching staff, my players who helped win the championship. Thank you.
Our player of the week for week number 3, table sponsored by Pell Hughes Printing, is quarterback Tanner Lee of Jesuit High School. The 6'4", 195-pound senior, Lee set, I don't know, every record imaginable for passing yards, touchdown passes, anything else they could possibly create in the 170-plus year history of the school. He rallied Jesuit to a 56-49 victory over Archbishop Shaw in a wild game. Lee completed 23 of 32 passes for 532 yards and 7 touchdowns with no interceptions. A Tulane commitment. Lee is coached by Wade Kaiser. Wade, take a bow. Also, the parents of each player that are here, including the first 2, parents of Speedy, parents of Christian, parents of Tanner, please take a bow yourselves right now. We appreciate it. Once again, our player of the week for week number 3 is Tanner Lee of Jesuit.
I'd like to thank the quarterback club for this award, and I'd like to thank my coaches, my teammates, and my parents for putting up with me and pushing me to be successful. Thank you.
Congratulations, Tanner. Lose a couple of inches and they'll hear you better next time. Our player of the week for week number 4, table sponsored by Kevin Keitel, attorney at law, is quarterback Jay Tyler of Newman. Jay's just a sophomore. He was superb as Newman routed Clark 48-8. The 5'9", 155-pound sophomore completed 22 of 25 passes for 258 yards and 4 touchdowns. He rushed 4 times for 45 yards and a 5th touchdown, and he completed a 2-point conversion pass. The son of former Hope Ferry Walker and LSU star quarterback Herb Tyler, Jay is coached by Nelson Stewart. Nelson, take a bow. I'd also like to recognize Jay's parents here today. You saw Herb earlier. Please take a bow as well. Our quarterback club player of the week for week number 4, Jay Tyler of Newman High School.
First of all, I'd like to thank my parents, coaches, teammates. They all prepared me for life, and I thank them so much. I'd like to thank Nolan's Quarterback Club for this great honor. It's a great thing, and I can't thank him enough. Also, I'd like to thank God. Without him, I wouldn't have the skill set to do what I do every Friday night, so thank you all.
Well done, well spoken. Our player of the week for week number 5, table is sponsored by Tim Levy here of the Cannery. From North Lake Christian High School is Dane Landry. The 5'11", 170-pound senior was superb in all 3 phases as the Wolverines downed Ellender 36-32. Landry had 3 catches for 83 yards, including a 35-yard touchdown reception. He had 2 interceptions on defense, including a 70-yard return for a score, while the other interception clinched the victory. Oh, by the way, he had 4 tackles, and for good measure, on special teams, he returned a kickoff 84 yards for a touchdown. That's a pretty good sheet, isn't it? Landry is coached by Tony Agresta. Tony, take a bow. I also want to recognize Dane's parents, family that are here today. Please take a bow as well. The player of the week for week number 5 from North Lake Christian, Dane Landry. Dane?
First, I just want to thank God for this opportunity, and my coach and my parents and my teammates. Thank you.
Congratulations, job well done, and a good season for the Wolverines as well as they reach the regional round. Our player of the week for week number 6, table sponsored by Florida League Carpeting and Floors, is Dominic Henry of South Blackman High School. The 5'10", 175-pound senior quarterback, Henry rushed for 189 yards and 5 touchdowns to face the Hurricanes to a 60-13 victory over Newman in a big 9-2A contest. He did not attempt to pass in the game. The win moved the Hurricanes to 4-1 on the season. And of course, they went on to the playoffs as well under head coach Cedric Figueroa. Cedric, take a bow. I'd also like to recognize Dominic's parents and family that are here today. Please be noted as well. Take a bow. Our player of the week for week number 6, Dominic Henry of South Plaquemine.
First off, I want to thank God, my coach, my mom and my dad, my family, everybody. I just love y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I just love y'all. I hate being up here. I hate talking. But most of all, I want to thank the quarterback club for giving me this award. Thank you.
Love that family, and you did well. You spoke well. Good job, Dominic. Our player of the week for week number 7, and a table sponsored by Mike Bench and Delacroix Corporation, is quarterback James Tabry of the Holy Cross Tigers. The 6', 175-pound junior, Tabry completed 11 of 12 passes for 310 yards and 5 touchdowns, all career bests, as Holy Cross routed Fontainebleau 49-3 in a non-district contest. Tabry is coached by Barry Wilson, who took his team to the state semifinals this year in 4A. Barry, be noted. Also want to recognize James's family. Parents, please take a bow as well. Our player of the week for week number 7, James Tabry of Holy Cross.
I would also like to thank God, as everyone else, for giving me my talents and for me to play football every single day. I'd like to thank my coaches and my teammates for a great year, and I would like to thank my parents for their support. So.
Great job, James. He played hurt down the stretch and kept playing. Our player of the week for week number 8, table sponsored by Linda Slathan, is quarterback Omari Jones of McMain High School. A 6'3", 190-pound junior quarterback, Jones connected on 27 of 42 passes for 490 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he rushed for his 6th score in McMain's 54-48 wild victory at Pearl River. Jones is coached by Kevin Roussel. Kevin, take a bow. I also want to recognize Omari's family members that are here today as well. You can be noted as well. Our player of the week for week number 8 from McMain High School is Omari Jones. Omari?
I would like to thank my coaches and for the hard work they put in all season, my teammates, and the quarterback club for presenting me with this award. Thank you.
Congratulations, Omar, and another really good season for the Mustangs as well. Our player of the week for week number 9, table sponsored by Fritchard's, Fulliard, Fritchard's, an Impostyle law firm, which Ed Daniels had to learn to say about 5,000 times this year. He is quarterback Damian Williams of Archbishop Rummel. The 6'1", 215-pound senior quarterback rushed 25 times for 151 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he completed 9 of 14 passes for 115 yards and another touchdown, as the top-ranked Raiders were previously unbeaten in 5th-ranked Jesuit 38-17. Williams is coached by Jay Roth. Jay, take a bow. I want to recognize Damien's family members here as well. Take a bow. And player of the week for week number 9, quarterback Damian Williams of the Rummel Raiders. Damian?
I'd like to thank Coach Jay Roth and my parents and the rest of the Raider Nation for the support. And another thanks to Coach Roth for pushing me to be the best player I can be. Raider pride.
Our player of the week for week number 10, table sponsored by Paul Mayoral at WSLA, 1560 AM in Slidell, is running back Sergio Medina of Hahnville High School. The 6', 200-pound senior, Medina carried 40 times for 240 yards and 4 touchdowns to lead the Tigers to a thrilling 47-44 overtime win over arch rival Destrehan to clinch the 8-5A district championship, giving Hahnville its 5th consecutive victory. Of course, they went on to beat St. Paul's in the opening round of the playoffs in another excellent season under Coach Lou Valvin. Louis, where are you? Take a bow if you're here. I also want to recognize Sergio's family members that are here. Please take a bow as well. Our player of the week for week number 10 is running back Sergio Medina of the Highville Tigers.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone that's supported me to the person I am today, and the quarterback club for presenting me with this a tremendous honor. Thank you.
Well, we got Sergio here. He was taking a college visit this past weekend, and we got him back in town. We got him here, and he did a great job after moving to offense from defense to really get his team going. Our player of the week for week number 11, table sponsored by Harry Henderson III, attorney at law, is running back, wide receiver, return artist, wherever they need him, Carlos Henderson of McDonough 35. The 5'11", 175-pound senior, Henderson had 344 all-purpose yards as the 21st seeded McDonough 35 Ron Eagles down 12 seeded East Jefferson 28-21 in the opening round of the 4A state playoffs. Carlos caught 4 passes for 117 yards, rushed 10 times for 53 yards, returned 2 kickoffs for 133 yards, had 3 punt returns for 41 yards, and I believe he carried the water bucket after the game as well. Henderson scored 3 touchdowns. He added a 2-point conversion. He's pretty fast. A commitment to Utah. Henderson is coached by Wayne Reese. Wayne, take a bow. I also want to recognize Carlos's family members. Take a bow as well. Our player of the week for week number 11, Carlos Henderson of the McDonough 35 Ron Eagles.
First, I just want to thank God for him. Without him, I wouldn't be here. The quarterback club for presenting me with this award. Coach Reese, my mom for the support.
Good season for the Ron Eagles, a very good season, as they did a great job making a deep run before falling up in Monroe, but a great job by Coach Reese in the first ever appearance in the semifinals. Our player of the week for week number 12, and his table sponsored by Fletcher Mackel of WDSU Television, Channel 6, who spoke here this year, does a great job, is Leonard Fournette, running back at St. Augustine. A 6'1", 225-pound junior, Fournette carried 28 times for 354 yards and 3 touchdowns, as the 10-seeded Purple Knights blasted the 7-seeded St. Thomas More Cougars 40-14 in the regional round of the 4A playoffs. The junior is one of the most highly sought-after running backs players in the country, but they've got to wait. He's got another year. And he is coached by Cyril Crutchfield. Cyril, take a bow. I also want to recognize Leonard's family members that are here today. Much to be proud of. Please be noted. Take a bow. Our player of the week for week number 12, Leonard Fournette of St. Augustine.
First of all, I want to thank God and congratulations to everyone who made player of the week. You know, New Orleans, it's kind of hard being a teenager, all the killing and all this, so I like to thank God every day. And for my former coach, Coach Dave Johnson to be here is an honor because, you know, that's much love for him, so thank y'all.
Congratulations, Leonard. Our player of the week for week number 13, table sponsored by Rudy Odom, a good and great friend of the quarterback club and a North Shore guy, from the Mandeville Skippers, Glenn Coulier. The 6'1", 204-pound junior, Coulier ran for 2 touchdowns, passed for 2 more. The 13-seed Mandeville upset 5th-seeded Catholic of Baton Rouge 28-21 in the quarterfinal round of the 5A state playoffs. Coulier completed 19 of 34 passes for 317 yards and 2 scores. He rushed 15 times for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. Coulier is coached by Guy LeCompte. Guy, take a bow here. I want to recognize Glenn's family members that are here as well. Please take a bow. Smiling, and they should be. Did a great job, tremendous season, reaching the state semifinals for a 2nd straight year in 5A. Our player of the week for week number 13, Glenn Coulier of the Mandeville Skippers.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty nervous up here, but I'm just gotta say that I'd like to thank God, my mom and dad for believing in me. My dad never left my side. He always, every time he told me just keep doing your work, keep working hard, everything would pay off. I'd like to thank Coach LeCompte for giving me the opportunity to play. It means a lot. And I'd like to thank my family, my friends, everyone, and congratulations to all you guys who got the award. You guys got a lot of good future ahead of y'all. Keep your head on straight. Y'all can do what y'all do. Just keep it on, y'all. Hey, Thank you, everybody, for being here. You all look great. Thank you.
Anybody looking for a CEO? Congratulations, Glenn. Great job. Great season for the Skippers. Our player of the week for week number 14, table sponsored by Stan Cotterman, attorney at law of the quarterback club, is linebacker Duke Riley of John Curtis Christian. A 6'1", 205-pound senior linebacker, Riley was a monster on defense, recording 15 tackles and recovering a fumble as the top-seeded Patriots ripped fourth-seed Springfield 55-0 in the 2A state semifinals. A prime Division I recruit, Riley is coached by J.T. Curtis. J.T. We recognize Duke's family members as well. Please be noted. Player of the week for week number 14 is Duke Riley of the John Curtis Patriots. Duke.
How y'all doing? First and most important, I would like to thank God for giving me blessings, you know, just so blessed. I'd like to thank my coach JT, my parents, and quarterback club for giving me this honor. Thank you.
Excellent job, Duke. Will make a great player for someone at the next level. And our prep player of the week for our final week, which is the state championship week, week number 15, sponsored by the James Ramadak family. Jim, thank you. Is wide receiver Stephen Dunbar of Rummel. 6'2", 181-pound junior. Dunbar overcame a significant shoulder injury, playing in pain, and he caught 6 passes for 119 yards and a touchdown, and he caught a 2-point conversion pass to help lead Rummel to a 35-14 victory over Barb for the 5A state championship, the first ever state title for Rummel. Dunbar is coached by Jay Roth. Jay, be noted again. And also want to recognize Stephen's family members that are here as well. Our player of the week for week number 15 is Stephen Dunbar of the Rummel Raiders. Stephen?
First, I'd like to thank God, because without him, I wouldn't have talent and a family and a coach that pushes me to be the best I can be. Thank God for the Raider Nation. They give us the inspiration to do what we want to do and become champions. And thank y'all for being here, and I thank the quarterback club for giving us this award. And congratulations to all y'all, the fellas for doing y'all thing. But yeah, thank y'all.
Didn't want him to lean over too much. Quick backstory on that. Stephen got hurt the week before in the semifinal game against Guy's team. Interesting play. He got hurt on as he dove to make a catch and had a penalty called against him, which was a pretty interesting call. But at the same time, he got injured on the play, and at the time was diagnosed that he had separated his shoulder. And of course, he couldn't play anymore and was not expected to play in the state championship game. He not only played, but he was a significant reason why Rummel won the state championship. And again, just to show you about the spirit of cooperation and the mutual respect that exists. It's one thing to compete on the field and to try to beat the other guy's brains out, but when the game's over, guys, it's a game. And these are your brothers in arms, and they're people you're going to be working with and being around all of your life. So keep that in mind. It is a sport, and it's games. The spirit of games, the business of games, and nothing else. But I'm on my way home after we finished this great weekend with 3 New Orleans teams winning state championships. On Saturday night, it's about close to midnight, and I get a call from Coach Curtis, and he says, Kenny, he says, man, he says, I got you don't have to do what I tell you to do, but I really think you need to do something. I said, what's that, Coach? He said, you need to pick Stephen Dunbar as your prep player of the week. That embodies everything that we do this for. A kid that goes out there and gives everything he has, you know he's in pain, he's not even supposed to play, and he's a primary reason why you win. I thought that was pretty cool. So Ed and I concurred, and we went with that. So congratulations. But I just think that's an interesting story about what goes on behind the scenes. Some people have impressions in front of the cameras and beyond else, but let me tell you something, there's a lot of respect. All the texts and emails and everything else we got during the state championships at Edna, Curtis, and Rummel were very heartwarming from a lot of people and a lot of competitors that are competitors on the field, but friends off the field. Let's keep it that way. I think it's a very good thing. It is time now to present our Prep Player of the Year for the Greater New Orleans Quarterback Club, and we never come by this easy because it's virtually impossible to separate one person out of so many good players each and every year, but we're dictated to try to find one. So we do the very best we can, understanding that there's no way that one person is the only person that is deserving. And we're charged with this responsibility every year. And as I tell you about the young man's accomplishments, you can watch the video screen behind me and get an idea about what he accomplished this year. The 5'10", 175-pound junior from Endicott High School, Devontae Speedy Knoll, had a tremendous season, leading the second-seeded Car Cougars to the 4A state championship with a 28-22 win over top-seeded and defending champion and previously unbeaten Neville to complete a 14-0 season, the first state championship for the Cougars since 1993. For the season, he completed 181 of 259 passes, 70%, 2,378 yards, and 26 touchdowns. He rushed 128 times for 1,349 yards and 21 touchdowns. He also caught 18 passes for 248 yards and 3 touchdowns. Overall, he accounted for 3,975 yards and 50 touchdowns. He's coached by Jabbar Jalouk. We recognize Jabbar and his parents. I know they're proud and should be. Our prep player of the year for the Greater New Orleans Quarterback Club is Devontae Speedy Knoll of Endicott High School. Come on.
Once again, I'd like to thank New Orleans Quarterback Club for honoring me with this award. I'd like to thank my coach, my mom, my grandma, and my auntie for the support. I'd like to thank y'all for competing, and good job. Thanks.
How did he get that nickname anyway? I'm just wondering. Congratulations. At this time, it's my pleasure to call on Ed Daniels one more time, who has one more special presentation to make. And then when Ed's finished, I'm going to call on the 3 state championship coaches to come up and say a word or two before we close here today. So once more, I will call upon Ed Daniels, sports director of ABC 26, host of Friday Night Football, for a special award that he has to present as he does annually. Ed?
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who supports high school football in this area. It really is a tremendous game. Some of the best high school football in the country played in South Louisiana. And this year was exceptional. And I would like to echo some of the things that Kenny said. We could have picked 12, 15, 20 guys and handed them all this trophy today because of the spectacular seasons that they gave us. And I got to tell you, I go to a game every Friday night and try to go to as many as I can on Saturday and Thursday, and the quality of play this year and the quality of the coaching was unbelievable. But we do have to pick our player of the year. Unfortunately, the gentleman who sponsors this award, Jerry Moisan from Best Chevrolet, could not be with us today. He expresses his regrets, but Best Chevrolet is a tremendous F&F sponsor. They do an unbelievable job for us, and they sponsor not only our Best Player of the Week, but our Best Player of the Year award. And this year, our Best Player of the Year is also from quarterback U, and that is Devontae Speedy Knoll, Carr High School.
I'd like to say thanks again.
Coach, you need a U-Haul to bring all his stuff back to campus. If you want, we'll call a moving van. We'll get it all done. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Ed. And congratulations to Speedy on those awards, well deserved, as are many others here this afternoon. As I mentioned, we had 3 state championship schools from the New Orleans area this past weekend. It puts New Orleans back where it belongs, on top in the state. And I know JT's really happy to have some company this year, and I know that for a fact. He means it sincerely, that we have 3 teams from this area that have won state championships. So at this time, before we close, I want to call on each of the 3 coaches to come up and say a few words on behalf of what they accomplished in their teams, and maybe a word of encouragement for the young men here today. First of all, I'll call on the 2A state championship coach who just won his 25th state championship, unparalleled in Louisiana history, Coach J.T. Curtis of the John Curtis Patriots. J.T.?
Thank you, Kenny, and congratulations to all you young men for your accomplishments. But as you know, none of that would have been possible without the play of your teammates. And I think that's what high school athletics is about. It's about team. It's about learning how to take a group of people, put them together, and to accomplish a goal. And if you learn nothing else out of playing this game, learning how to do that successfully in your family, successfully in your business, all of this is worth it. All the money that we spend, all the effort that we make, the intrinsic values that are going to make you the kind of productive citizens that we need desperately in this country is worth it. As we closed the show Saturday night, Ed and I made this comment, and I think it's so true, is that we want to emphasize the positive things that the young men in our community do. We hear enough about the negative. We want to emphasize these young men that are doing the things that they ought to do because they've been raised correctly, because they've been coached with people that care, and they're in schools with people that care. And so I want to congratulate each of you and tell you that we look forward to seeing you play at the next level, but more importantly, I look forward to seeing you as leaders in our community in the next 20 years. Thank each of you all.
Next up, it's my pleasure to introduce the 4A state championship head coach. His first personally, but the second in car history. They won it in 1993 under Coach Don Watney. Please give a warm welcome to Cougars coach Jabbar Gillard. Jabbar?
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank the New Orleans Quarterback Club and everyone that's here. Mr. Daniels for what he do on Friday night for high school football. Coach Curtis is actually my cousin, and I'm proud of him as well. And that's the same with you, Mr. Gardner. First, I would like to congratulate all the young men who are up here. Out of the 3 state champions, I'm probably the youngest. I'm closer to y'all age of just finished playing football. But I want to be like those guys one day, so I want to keep coaching as long as I possibly can. But I want to, charge you guys and challenge you guys, and Speedy knows this at school, have a plan B. Because I know everyone up in here wants to go to the NFL, and that's a good dream to have. But have a plan B. And your plan B is to be the best you can be in society. I tell people all the time, it's easier to get an MBA than it is to go to the NBA or the NFL. So those are the 3 letters that we're looking for from you guys, and to be the best leaders that you can, and to be productive citizens in life. And we want the best for you guys, and we're very proud of you, and can't be without your parents. Please be thankful for your parents as well. But we are very excited and glad about the opportunity that we had to play in the state championship 3 years in a row. And with players like Speedy, it makes my job a whole lot easier. But his offensive line did an outstanding job of blocking for him. And, I want to give all the credit to my assistant coaches, because assistant coaches don't get enough credit. You always see the head coach on television, the head coach in the newspaper. But my coaches are the best coaches that I can possibly have, and they all have graduated from CAR except for 3 of us. That's myself, Coach Holmes, and Coach Monk. They went to Booker T. Washington and Archbishop Shaw. But everyone else is a graduate of CAR High School, and that means a lot because they're vested into the community, and they want to make sure that the tradition is carried on and keep going. So we're excited about it. I think I had 400 text messages after the game. I didn't know my phone could hold that many. And I just appreciate the love that everyone has given us, and I'm excited about what we can do. And the crazy part about it, Speed is a junior, but we have 15 Division I prospects returning next year. So hopefully Ken keeps inviting me here, and we'll keep winning. So thanks a lot.
You'll keep getting invited. Quick side story there, every coach we invited this year won. So it's one of those deals where after we invited him to the semifinal week, I told him, I said, hey, if you win, you're coming back next week. So he made sure he came. What happened? You beat Neville. Way to go, Jabbar. Finally, the 5A state champions, first time in school history. From the Archbishop Rummel Raiders, Coach Jay Roth. Jay?
I'd like to congratulate the young men sitting in front of me. You know, guys, not only I'm a head football coach, but I'm a fan of prep football. There's not a Friday or Saturday morning that I don't get up and read the paper and read every article in there about every team and every stat. And I know you guys by name, I know you guys by numbers, and I know what y'all have done this season, and I'm very proud of you. New Orleans is a unique town. It's where you go to school, who you play for, and I'm going to tell you, fellas, I'm out of high school 30 years, older than Jabbar, a little younger than Coach JT. But, you know, when I played 30 years ago, my best friends now are guys that I played against at Jesuit and Brother Martin and East Jefferson. And you guys are competitors now, but y'all will always be intertwined as prep stars and prep heroes of your time. So embrace it. And I'm going to tell you a quick story that I heard last Friday. A young man called me, and he's a former player of mine, and he's playing at LSU. And he was so excited about Mama playing in the state championship. And he says, Coach, I'd give anything to be back. One more time, one more time for me to line up against Jesuit. One more time for me to play in this game. I said, come on now. Truly, LSU, Alabama. You trade that? He says, Coach, I don't know that guy across from me at Alabama, but I know that guy across from me from Jesuit, and I know that guy across from me from Brother Martin, and that means a lot to me. I'd put that R in my helmet anytime. And I think you guys, be loyal to your high schools, cherish these times, because it's times you remember all your life. Congratulations, and thank y'all very much.
Thanks, Jay. Congratulations to all three of you gentlemen and your programs. And congratulations to all the coaches, the parents for doing such a great job. Congratulations to the administrators who do a wonderful job in making sure that they keep these young men on the straight and narrow. And by the way, before we leave, I see him in the audience. I want to recognize my friend Mike Gianbaluca, who's done a tremendous job at Jesuit. He's leaving us at the end of the school year. We're going to miss you, but we deeply appreciate what you've done for your school and this community. As we get ready to close, I want to ask all of our honorees, all 15 guys, we're going to go right over to this side of the stage, to my right, your right, and take some group pictures, all of you together, so parents, you'll have a chance to get some photos of that too. So we'll do that here in just a moment. Also want to remind you that the video of today's Quarterback Club Luncheon, you can see it at sportsnola.com. We'll have it up this afternoon at sportsnola.com, so if you want to check it out for memory's sake and keep it for future purposes, please do. It's truly remarkable. One of the reasons that Ed and I do this is because we love it. And maybe the best thing about this, and I'll close with this, is that so many years later, you get somebody that comes up to you. And by last count, I've been doing games on radio since 1978, and for television since 1980, which was East Bank Cable, that became Cox Cable. I guess I'm getting old. And the best thing about what I do is that so many years later, somebody comes up to you and says, man, you did my game in 1982. And my first response is, I hope I pronounced your name right. Or I hope I said something nice about you. And this is real funny and it's very brief. Danny Abramowitz, former Saints star, was a coach at Jesuit. And Danny's an engaging guy, very personable, but also if you know him at all, he can be a practical joker. One of the things you do if you're not sure about a kid's name is you go ask the coaches. You make sure that you get it right, because the last thing you want to do is mispronounce a name. Jesuit had a kicker, Stephen Bouzon. And I'm talking to Danny, and we're just going over things over and over again, and he made it a point. I didn't even ask him because the name looked pretty simple to me, B-O-U-Z-O-N. It can only be Bouzon. Okay. And he says, oh, hey, by the way, he said, make sure you get my kicker's name right. I said, oh, Coach, is it not Bouzon? I said, no, it's Bozo. Bozo. And he told me like 5 times, really? Bozo. Well, the kid kicked the game-winning field goal against Neville, and they go on to the semifinals as a result of his kick, and the whole game I'm calling it Bozo. It was a practical joke. His name was Bouzon. I love Danny, but not on that night. A heck of a deal. Congratulations to all the young men here this afternoon. A tremendous accomplishment, and again, I think what Coach Roth said is 100% accurate. You hope that these aren't the best days of your life, but let me tell you something. These are some of the best days of your lives, because there's nothing like the fellowship that you have with your classmates, your neighbors, And let me tell you something, when you go on to school, you're going to be with those kids from the other schools, and you're going to realize that you have a lot in common, and that you're friends, and you'll be friends for lives. And don't ever forget that, because and with my Christian background and what it means the most to me in my life, it's important that we come together and bring people together on a regular basis. Not to separate by class, not to separate by race, not to separate by select or non-select, private or non-private, whatever the case may be, but to bring people together and to understand that we're living on God's earth and that we're supposed to be brothers and sisters. So remember that, you know, that Curtis Riverside, hey, those guys really aren't so bad. They're pretty nice. You know, that Jesuit Holy Cross, hey, guess what? Those guys aren't so bad either. They're pretty nice people. Rummel, except for Barry Wilson, yeah, right. Rummel, Shaw, you know, I could go on and on with all the rivalries. Mac 35 and Carr, those guys aren't so bad after all. They're really good people. So remember that as you leave today, that everybody is made for a specific purpose. God's put us here for a reason. Fulfill that ability that you have. Best thing you want to say at the end of your life on that tombstone is that you fulfilled your potential. You were the very best that you could be with what God gave you to utilize and the gifts that you have. So remember that as we leave here today. Thanks again to the Quarterback Club, to the Cannery. We deeply appreciate Vic and Tim and what they've done for us this year. Ron, thank you for being here. CJ, always a pleasure. CJ will be on Sports Nola TV at 6 o'clock this evening on WHNO Channel 20. Jim Ravenat, Ed Daniels. Yes, sir?
Paul Valto, who's with
Oh, Paul's here? Paul Valto said, and Paul's been the chairman of the Arno Carriage New Orleans Bowl previously for many years, and a great friend of the Quarterback Club. I want to recognize our civil sheriff as well for years past, Paul Valto, who's here. Thank you, Paul. And remind you that the video will be at sportsnola.com. Once again, all of our 15 players to the right side of the stage, exit stage right, as we say right now, so we can take some group photos. And for Jim and Ed, and for everybody here, thanks for being here. Drive safely. Merry Christmas, one and all. Happy New Year. God bless you.